here.
Right. She always worried about her. Don't be worried about me.
Mira.
You know what I'm saying? I'm out here too. Look, and like, oh, now we'll talk to you later. What's up, people? We live. We
Are
in
we
here
live?
arguing like brother and sister.
As always, as we
But
do.
like, listen, men, be
Is it
with
on
me on
me?
this
Oh,
one.
it's not on
It's
me.
not on you. No, it's not, because I got a point to make. But listen, it's
Here
like,
we go.
when you're arguing with the female descent, and
Descent.
they can
I'm
have
trying to.
emotions, but as soon as you feel something, they're like, stop being sensitive. Like, come on, man, I got feelings too. I got a position. Like,
Got a
I
position.
can't feel nothing. I can't feel like I want the camera to look good on me too. They're not now just because I said I want the camera to look good on me. Now I'm doing too much and I'm sensitive. But that's the first thing she say when she come in. You know what I'm saying, Mama? You out there,
I need to
Mama?
make sure my light is good.
Yeah, me
You got
too.
no, because you got the yellow glow. So I'm with the yellow
Listen,
glow because it's on your brown skin. Brown skin. NDRE.
no, it's not really playing through. It's not really playing through.
And
We call that
my
brat life. Brat life.
hold on. I'm
Brat
a
life. But anyway, y'all, we are very excited. We got Crybaby Cozie in the building. Look, I felt very Caucasian when I was making
yes.
his thing,
I hope you
because
did.
I was sending him the email, the release form, and everything, and I was like, do I say Mr. Cozy, or
Mr.
is
Cozy.
it Mr. Baby, or what do I? I don't know what to say here, guys. He's a
Mr.
dancer.
Cozy.
Uh, so I'm definitely gonna ask him that. Like, what do I call you? It's like a grown man named Delicious.
Right.
I can't call you Crybaby. Like, I don't know how to do that. How do I say that? Like, what's up, Crybaby? What's up? Like,
Nah,
anyway,
yeah.
we're gonna ask him.
We gonna see
But
that.
how you feeling? How you
I
feeling,
feel
Kyle?
great. I feel great. I'm actually going. I'm live
You had a
on.
good day. High
I'm
five on
live
the
on
bird.
my IG as well. What up? If y'all checking out the IG live right now, y'all checking out the JD. No, not JD and Kaisha.
I know, right?
Keep going back to that. If you know the show. I'm doing like a little live situation. Let's turn this joint.
She's doing too much, if you ask me.
I'm
She's
doing
doing
the
too
most.
much.
I'm doing the most. I don't care.
But I'll tell you, because she told me already. She's had a productive day. Everything is good. Now let's get to me.
I've
Cause
had a very productive day,
okay, go ahead.
and well, no, I want to talk about it.
Go ahead. Talk about it.
You know them
Talk about your
days.
day.
You know them days where you just yes that. You know them days when you just get stuff done. Like them days. I'm over here looking down. You know them days when you just get stuff done. You get some stuff done, and everything that's on your checklist. You're like, yo,
Did that.
did that,
Did that.
did that. And we've been talking about the last couple of weeks. We've been talking about being overwhelmed,
Right.
overworked. We've been talking about just kind of going through life, kind of letting things slip through the cracks.
Right.
And I really did last week's homework. I don't know if y'all did
Oh,
it.
I didn't. Look, I had it in my head
I
all
did
week.
last week's homework.
I'm a wing it.
I
Go
did
ahead.
last week's homework, and I thought about what makes me happy, right? So last week we talked about things that make you happy, and when was the last time you did those things, and then go out and do those things that make you happy, right? So
That sounds
I
like
did it.
things that people have time.
I did it.
don't have time to do.
I made sure I've been really wanting to get on my workout tip. I really did that. I've been doing my work, taking care of myself, making sure I'm being productive. And when I tell you this week, I feel like I wake up in the morning and it just feels amazing.
Bam. High five to you.
Amen. High five.
And let's get them horns. Let's get them horns on there. Pew, 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 pew. Turn up in the comment section if you didn't see my post, our post.
Our post.
but it's the
It's
pew
your
pew pew
post.
pew
Yes.
in the comment section. That means this noise.
Yes.
Thanks to Anna
How's your week?
Gonzalez. It's good. Everything's going good. I'm getting a better handle on my life as
Mhm.
as a business owner and a dad.
Amen.
And so that's starting to feel a little bit better. And yeah, just just the usual. No time to do anything but work, but I love it. Right?
Mhm.
It's like it's the life I chose, and that's what I'm doing.
Amen.
So,
We're gonna make it work.
but I did have a moment today that I wanted to share, because in my neighborhood, so I live in like kind of Torrance Redondo Beach cusp, right? And my neighbors I have really great neighbors, right? My
Uh-huh.
neighbors are the type of people, like, I could go in their house at like 10 a.m. and sit on the couch and they wouldn't even say nothing. They're just like, hey.
All right.
Like, not like, what are you doing in my house?
That's
like,
that LA-ish.
right. And like,
Yeah.
I was
Don't be doing
it's
that.
just
New York.
old, nice white people shit.
So, yeah,
they
it's
don't even be
like-
locking their doors sometimes.
That's
But-
crazy.
But
That's
it's like, but
crazy.
they're very great. They're great people. They help us in our lives. Like, they're
Right,
supportive. I have
right.
keys to their car.
Hey,
Point.
whoa.
The point
Okay.
is like it's a part of my community, right?
Right.
And so today someone came to their house and I heard them outside, kind of making themselves known, like, hey, anybody home? And I'm looking out the window and I was like,
Nah.
I should go out and and address them and say, hey, they
Alright.
just left. And then it hit me, like, this is what the nosy neighbor does, but it's
That's
not a
you.
nosy neighbor. Like, this is just when you have a community and you care about your neighbors and you want to help them. And I had never had an idea
When you care.
of how that feels,
Wait, put the
because
camera on me.
I've always
When you care.
but that's the whole point of saying it, is because like we've kind of we it's easy to misinterpret that
Yes.
feeling, and you feel like, oh, you just want to know what I'm doing, you're just being nosy.
Yeah.
But it's really from a concern for your neighbor. Like,
It's community.
I just wanted to make sure like this person isn't gonna do something crazy, or let them know I see, like,
Right.
and
It's community.
right.
Community. At the end of the day, it's community.
And I think that's something our communities are missing, because we are raised to mind your own business. Like, don't rat, don't do nothing, and mind your own business. And I think that cripples us sometimes, because I would want someone to do the same for me.
Yeah.
But before I had a home and before I was in a neighborhood, I didn't even think about that. I just thought somebody was being nosy. I just thought that was curious.
Yeah. Well,
like, just being on the other side of that.
I will say it depends when you're in communities of people of a similar background.
Right.
Especially like
Any
I said,
community, though. Any
coming back
community
from
should be-
no, I'm saying communities are
Right.
like that, where it's like if you come from a similar background, y'all gonna look out for each other. But like, for example, in New York, being born and raised there, and I'm from Queens, which is a very diverse area of New
Right.
York. My neighbors were culturally very different, and some didn't speak English and things like that. So it was a little more challenging for us to kind of be community,
Right.
So we would kind of look out for each other, but like on
But
the low.
But
Like,
it's not like, but that's what I'm saying. It's not challenging. It's just the mentality of it. And I think that's what I was kind of like, oh, like, I was
Right.
like, wow. It's like, because it's, you feel attacked when someone's asking you questions, and you feel like, well,
Oh,
you don't
yeah,
have
absolutely.
you don't have the right to ask me any questions. But
Yeah.
I'm like, why not? Like, you know what I mean?
I
I just feel like
don't know,
it
man.
should
We
be
gonna
so
ask for
abrasive.
Crybaby things, because this also is gonna be a New York ass show. I'm
Right.
tell y'all
Listen,
this right now.
First of all, H-Town is in the building. Listen, I'm gonna need for y'all to slow down with all of this.
Y'all gonna
Crybaby,
chill.
don't start none, won't be none. No,
Y'all gonna chill.
I'm kidding. It's all love.
But
I actually love New York.
Another reason why I'm hyped today is because it's gonna be a New York ass show. So
Okay.
before we get into that, though,
Can I
do
do my
want
New York shit? Can I talk like this?
no, because it's fake.
Nah, I'm
What
just
are you
saying, but
doing?
why you gotta call me out though, son? You know what I mean? Why you trying to bring it to me or something, B?
Chill.
You trying to bring it to me, B? I got what you want, man.
B.
I got what you want, man.
But
Stop
before
it,
we
man.
get into that, I do want to recognize that today is the Queen's birthday. The Queen of Salsa, Miss Celia Cruz, would have been 96 years old today. If you do not know about who Celia Cruz is, she's a Cuban, African descendant of Cuba, came to the US, and she just revolutionized music and salsa and all of the things. And she had this vibrant energy about her that will live on forever. Are we showing her?
Oh, no.
On the screen?
I'm gonna go there.
Yes. Because I hear her.
Yeah, that's her music.
Yeah,
in the
let's
back.
get into her. We're gonna show y'all a little bit clip of her in her prime. Here we go.
Yeah, I can say I've never really seen a picture of Celia Cruz like that.
Woo, look at that groove though. Hitting it.
Hey. Look, I don't care what y'all talking about. Celia Cruz is black. Like, listen.
She is. She is.
Right.
And I think that, again, we always go back to this, but Latin history is rooted in there's a lot of African influence in Latin history and Latin culture. So yes, shout out to Celia Cruz. Again, she revolutionized music, and she was not just a black woman, she was a dark-skinned black woman, and that really pioneered this style of music and dance and all of the things. So
all of the things. I had that down, but then I had to turn up Celia Cruz.
Neek, thank you. She said you could
Stop
tell you're a
saying
dancer.
Neek. It's Nick.
Nick, man, whatever.
Neek. Come on,
Nick,
New York.
Nick.
Where your flavor at?
Neek, I don't know. Whatever, yo.
Anyway, what up, Nick? Thanks for checking us out.
She said you could tell you a dancer. because we barely hear the music and you gigging. Well, I can hear it in my headphones, so
Right.
my IG live people can't
Yeah,
hear
and
it.
also let us know if you can't hear Cozy when we bring him on, or if you can't hear anything, just let us know in the comments. We can turn it up. So,
Are we ready?
yeah,
Do we want to
we're
bring
all
him in?
ready.
All
But
right,
I
cool.
like, you just calm down, relax. Can we talk to the crowd for a minute? How y'all do? Y'all good? Cool. All right, let's move on. No, I just feel rushed.
Shout out to Francisco on my IG live check-in. What's up, man? He gave me one of these.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give you one of those back.
All right. All right. Let's bring
But
in Cozy since
all
you're so
right, wait.
excited.
I
over
want to
here.
introduce him
Okay, of course. Go ahead.
because, first of all, dang, where do I begin? All right, I'm gonna start with myself and I'm gonna bring him in, right? So I grew up in New York City. I went to high school in 2001. From 2001 to 2005, I went to high school in Brooklyn Tech. If you know Brooklyn Tech, you know there's a lot of people from all over New York City that go to that school. Yeah, I loved it. It was great. But again, I'm from Queens, and I remember growing up at high school in that era, and one of my closest friends was from Harlem. His name is Jamel Asbury. What up? Shout out to Jamel. And we all used to dance together, right? And my other homegirl was from the Bronx. So that was a cool part about being in Brooklyn Tech, that you got just different people from different parts of the city. Now I remember this thing came out. It's called Chicken Noodle Soup. This song came out, and this other song called Jiggle It, and these other music started coming. And my boy from Harlem used to come to school and show us this music, and then he would be like, "Oh yeah," and then they doing this, and he would like start, Harlem shaking, and we'd be like, "Yo, I want to do that too." Boom, 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 boom. Right? It became a thing. And even when I went to college, shout out St. John's University, we would all kind of do it for fun. Like we call it getting light, right? And we would just do stuff that we saw people doing, right?
Is this your personal with Cozy?
No, this is my personal story.
Okay, got it.
Fast forward a couple years later, when I went in when I started pursuing dance professionally, I was in the studios, but I was also a freestyle dancer. So I started going to like battles and stuff. And I go to this one battle, I think it was a yak battle. And I see this dude.
I'm sorry, explain yak. What is that? What is that? What are we doing here?
It's a battle. It's a battle company. Let's say like how Red Bull does their battles, right?
Got it.
I go to this battle and I see this guy moving. I was like, yo, this dude is fire. What? He got this groove. He got this style. He got this thing. Come to find out, it's Chrybaby, number one. Bruh. Number two, he was one of the people that I used to watch and like try to emulate in the music videos. The DJ, I didn't know. That's and I was dope. Like, yo, this dude is nasty. Not only is he nasty, but he was the guy. Him and you start getting into like we'll get into what it is. But point is, this is why I'm so excited to have him now, because fast forward how many years later, the style has come such a long way. They're teaching it in dance studios. Right. It is such a authentic style of hip hop. I feel like it's the new evolution of hip hop. And for our guest today to be one of the pioneers of this style, to stick with it and do it and push it and give back to the community the way he has is amazing. It's incredible. So I'm giving you all your flowers right now, Mr. Chrybaby Cozie. Let's bring him on.
Thank you so much.
Building.
So very much, Kai.
How you feel, Cozy?
I'm doing good,
you
man.
button that you pushed before.
Look, you can hear me?
Cozy been tricking us with his. You can't hear us either? We can't hear you though.
Can you hear me?
Us. He's like, oh, I could hear y'all.
Right. Push the same button you pushed earlier.
Here we go. We have
out now.
There we go. All right.
There you go.
Yeah, it may be connection.
I don't know, but
yeah, we hear you. We hear you
for a fact. Thank you so much, Kai, for the intro and just throwing my flowers. Like, I didn't even know that was your experience growing up. Like, when I saw you made the comment, and then just hearing you say it now, like, it really brought it full circle. I think I met you in like 2011, maybe 2012 at a yak event, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, so, it was at the 2011, like around that time.
Crazy.
That's dope. So you didn't even know. You didn't even know that that you were like someone that she emulated when she was growing up, right?
You know what, man? You don't walk around just knowing stuff like that. So when you hear
right.
it,
well, I just figured y'all were friends.
And
like it would have been a conversation.
Oh, no, definitely people's. Definitely.
Yeah,
people's,
but the thing is, we kind of came up around the same time. So it was like we were watching, because I was in high school when this style was coming out. So it's almost like now to think back on it, it's like when people were growing up in the 80s and doing this thing.
Right.
And now it became hip hop. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they
Mm-hmm.
were just doing this thing. We were just in Brooklyn hearing about this Harlem thing going on,
Yeah.
and these dancers in Harlem and these parties in Harlem, and all we was like, well, I want to do that too. But we didn't necessarily know what we were doing. But then when
Yeah.
we would see the dancers from Harlem doing it, it was like, oh, y'all,
So
okay,
Paris. Like I don't know if you like. It's a friend of ours named Paris. We used to promote clubs, and I used to walk around the club, like through the club, doing the Harlem Shake. Like, and he used to
Hey,
laugh at me because I would just be doing like a little shimmy, and it probably didn't look as cool as most. Like I would just be
right?
but
doing.
isn't there a dance? Isn't there a dance from Texas that with the shoulders like that? If I'm not mistaken.
Is
uh,
it detail boogie? No.
no, not one. Maybe a newer dance. Not that I know. In my
No,
era,
I
all we
said
did was grind on people. Like
okay.
that's all we did.
But yo, let's jump into your journey,
Yeah.
Crybaby. You
Tell
know
us
what I mean?
about
Like,
you. Like
let's
for the
get into your journey,
Yeah,
sir.
for the people who don't know who you are, start from the beginning. Where did you start with dance? And just give us your journey to where you are now.
Thank you so much for one just providing a platform and allowing me to speak about that. The journey begins at 5, learning the Running Man.
Mm,
Like the Running Man was like the first dance that my eldest brother, the first and only dance my eldest brother taught me, and it was a way for him to stop being asked to dance at birthday parties. So when he taught me, I became the person dancing at birthday parties and dance contests, and it just became a thing that it was a novelty thing at first, but then I started watching music videos, and I'm like, yo, I want to do that. Music videos like, or just movies like Beat Street, Breaking, and then music videos from the Bad Boy era.
yeah.
Seeing Mr. Wiggles and things like Mr. Wiggles is like an idol of mine. Can you guys hear me?
Woo!
Yeah,
Yes,
no, we hear you. We hear you all good.
All right,
Mr.
cool. Just make
Wiggles, man,
Yeah, Mr. Wiggles is the big homie, man. When it
pioneer.
comes to bro, he's really like dude's like Santa Claus to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And when it comes to just movement, artillery, I always aspired to dance and have movement like that. But
Yeah,
growing up, I wanted to be a b-boy. The Running Man was the first dance that I got into, but I wanted to break. And being that growing up I was a little overweight, it just didn't seem like that was something that would really come to life, you know. But
yeah. But
things
I'm
like
not like
waving.
I'm
Mhm.
sorry to interrupt you, but when you say the Running Man, like that was like one dance. So it was like what do you mean when you say like that's kind of where you started? Is like there variations of the Running Man, or like I'm not a
There
dancer,
are
but
several variations of the Running
yes,
Man. Like
yes, yes,
okay, because
and
I
that's
just knew one Running
I
Man. I
grew
was
up in an
like,
era. I
was
grew
like
up in an
just
era with
that's
the
it.
New Jack Swing. So New Jack
Oh
Swing
yeah,
had
okay, I got you.
several different variations of the Running Man, and
See. I think that if you're not a dancer, you don't know that. Like I've seen people. I just think it's people's different style, but I didn't know like
mhm.
there's so much variations. But I know
yeah,
different people did it
Damn,
different.
what?
yes,
But I didn't know it was
Just
like
watch.
yes.
a
Yeah.
style.
Dance is like a language.
Right.
Dance is a
Absolutely.
language in the sense that you get your words, right? That's your vocabulary.
Right.
But then it's how you articulate, how you put your sentences together, how you formulate your
Mhm.
speech is everybody's specific. If you think about dance, you have
Yeah.
dance vocabulary, you have moves that you learn,
Mhm.
or that you create, or that
Right.
you do different variations of, and that becomes your language. So
Right.
that when you go
Absolutely.
out into a cipher, you create choreography, that's how you speak, and it becomes your style,
Right.
you know.
But that's
Mhm.
okay. So, but it's still the same dance, right? Like I guess that's what I'm getting to. Like it's like if we're talking about variations, it's just someone else's style and the way they bring it, or is it a whole different Running Man that I don't know about?
Well,
Does that
If
make
you ever
sense?
seen movies like what's this movie? If you ever seen movies like I'm losing my train of thought right now.
Yeah.
Break In, Beat Street, any dance
No,
movies?
no, no. It's Wesley Snipes. I'm like Harlem would kill me right now for not even remembering the
I
name of
know,
the movie.
right?
But
Then how
Wesley
to
Snipes
check
is a
it?
drug dealer, Cash Money
Yeah,
Brothers,
a New Jack City.
New Jack City. I'm like New
Yeah.
Jack Swing
Yeah,
in
you
New
fired,
Jack
bro.
City.
We gonna end this interview right now. New
Look, it's
Jack
been a while
City.
since I seen it, but you ain't even know
Yeah.
the Running Man had variations, bro. Don't be all
Right,
like,
right,
Right.
right.
you know what I'm
That's
saying?
why.
But New Jack City, if you watch New Jack City, people like Scoob and Scrap are in that, and they're doing all types of variations using the
Uh,
Running Man. And
yeah.
MC Hammer was the first person I saw do that. So when I saw people doing it in Harlem, it had a different look to it as well. So
Right.
in New Jack City, movies like that, like those were the first variations I saw. And then Beat Street and Breaking made me want
Right.
to wave, isolate, glide. Even artists like Usher was somebody that was gliding. Missy Elliott was
Right.
gliding. So I
Yeah.
began seeing things in music videos, and I'm like, all right,
Yeah.
not doing the Running Man anymore, but I'm like, let me
Right.
implement
Right.
these isolations, these glides, these waves, and let me
Right.
see what I can do with it. And then I'm gonna say like around 6th or 7th grade, the Harlem Shake came out, and even calling it the Harlem Shake, growing up, we just called it the Shake. And
Yeah.
Right.
the
So
Shake came
how
out.
was that? Like, what was their first experience with the shake?
My first experience with the Shake was in the community center from where the building I live in now. Across from me, there's a building, 1295, and they used to have parties in the community center. And these parties would be the epicenter for all movement that was taking place in the neighborhood. And I heard "Let's Get It" for the first time. And if you know "Let's
Hey.
Get It," they have this crazy James Brown sample in the beginning. It's like, "Hey, don't not like how I sound," but then the beat would drop like,
Now, how did
"Doom,
it go again?
doom,
How did
doom, doom." Nah, you're gonna get me to do that again.
it...
But
Well,
yeah, it
now it's
had
good
like
forever.
if anybody that ever heard of "Let's Get It," P Diddy, G Dep, Black Rob, R.I.P. Black Rob, you
Oh, take
would
this
hear
money. This money. Now,
Ain't no
"Ain't
way
let's
No
you
get
can
Way,"
it.
take this from
take
me.
this, and then you hit a room, room, doom, 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 and you just started seeing shoulders moving
Yeah.
about. I'm like,
Nigga, that was
all right, this
exactly the
is
time I
it.
would be rolling through the club with my joints.
You
Right.
gotta
Yeah.
feel
uh.
me. And then the music video came out, and we got to see these kids in the music video, and
Right,
it's
bro.
like
They
the
were
first
killing it.
time. It's like the first time in like the late '90s you see kids getting off and it wasn't breaking.
Right.
So I'm
Right.
like, whoa, what's this? What's this? And Jeremy, Jojo, and one other kid. I believe Jojo is from the east side of Harlem. Jeremy is from the Bronx, and I don't remember the other kid, but when I saw this music video and these kids was going crazy, they was getting off, I'm like, all right, this is the next thing. There's a party downstairs tomorrow, Saturday. I'm gonna do that at the party. They dropped the song,
Nice.
everybody's doing it.
Yeah.
Harlem Shake is the prerequisite. It's the dance that comes after the Al B. Now, Kai, I don't know if you're familiar with the Al B, but the Al
Mm-hmm.
B is something that was taking
That the Al be
place.
sure? That the Al be sure?
No, not Al B. Sure. We're talking about
Look, I'm
Al
trying. I'm
B
trying.
from.
I'm trying over here.
Connect the dots though. But Al
Nah,
B.
it's
Sure
okay.
is New Jack
Yeah.
Swing though. You're not far off though. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? In that era. But what I'll say is Al B is the hometown hero that would dance at Rucker Park. That
Mm.
that is the
Yeah.
prerequisite to the Harlem Shake. Like, so if you grew up doing the Al B, the Harlem Shake is naturally what comes next, followed by the Tone Wop or chicken noodle soup.
Oh, wow.
Show
Yeah, I
me
remember
the tone
when
wise.
I
Show me the
first got
tone
the
wise.
toe wop. I was like, oh, I thought it was a toe wop
Yeah.
for bad long.
But you're not wrong though. You're not wrong. So what happens is like I've created something called tonality, and that's how I express the footwork of Light Feet, and that's a mixture of Tone Wop, who is the creator of the Tone Wop, and like a game of telephone, I tell you Tone Wop, and by the time it gets to bruh, he's saying Toe Wop. You know, that's just how things happen though. Now
Yeah,
the thing
yeah.
of
Yeah.
it
That's
is
why
that
the game is so famous.
the toe wop took a life of its own. Like people don't even know that Tone Wop is an actual person, living, breathing,
Mm.
Mm.
has the energy. And when you see what Tone does, you'll see why the toe wop even exists. You know,
Yeah.
because Tone has a very specific move set, and the toe wop itself is a very particular move set.
Nice. That's
Right.
great. Y'all
That
getting schooled right now. I hope whoever's listening to this right now, y'all really understand that dance culture, especially what you would consider street dance culture. I hate the word street because
right.
it sounds weird.
I don't think I like
But
urban either.
dance, period, it has a culture, it has a history, it has foundation, just like ballet,
Right.
just like jazz, just
Just
like
like everything. Like everything,
For
like
yeah.
real.
literally
But
everything you get into. But
it's also a style. These are dances that didn't come up in a dance studio.
right.
They came up from kids
Creating.
creativity of children, but it has its own structure and its own history. So thank you,
Right.
Crybaby.
All right.
No
So
problem.
where are we at?
Where we at? We in
We
sixth
at
grade.
the tone wop.
Yeah, Harlem
Sorry, sir.
Shake into
I'm
the Tone
trying to
Wop.
understand your culture here, but I'm having trouble. But
It's
go ahead
our
and
culture.
then go
It's
ahead and finish
our
telling us,
culture.
brother.
Right.
All righty.
It's
I
yes.
feel very Caucasian
It's
right
a
now.
yeah. No, you black. Okay.
Uh,
I thought I knew the streets, but apparently I don't. All right,
OD,
go ahead,
man.
coach.
But yes.
So yeah, like middle school is when I found the Harlem Shake. My first year in high school, telling my age because my birthday coming up, Scorpio season. My first year in high
Uh-oh.
school was
Happy
2000.
early birthday.
You already know. Thank you. I appreciate that. So coming into high school year 2000, my last year was 2004,
Oh, we
and
a year
in
apart.
that, yes, and that's what I'm
Yo.
saying when you said 2001, 2005. I'm like, wow, that's like just a shift. In
Yeah.
high school, my last year in high school, there were two kids in gym class, kid named Corey and Didi, R.I.P. Didi. Unfortunately, these were the
Mm.
two kids that were in gym. That in between shooting the ball or like, playing with the girls, they would dance and they
Right.
would do this sort of bounce with the arms and the movement. I'm like, yo, what's that? And I believe Corey told me, yo, this is the tone wop. I'm like,
Mm.
I'm like unknowingly like Ash Ketchum with dance. I'm like, I have to learn this dance. I have to do this. Like,
I must learn all of
Pokedex, what's this
it.
dance? I'm like,
Right.
so we supposed to be in gym and they're dancing, and on my journey with things like electric boogie is what I actually picked up from wanting to be a breaker. So that's in my
Mm.
repertoire.
Mm-hmm.
The Harlem Shake and then the tone wop. I'm like, this is the footwork. I'm
Mm.
gliding. Like now, this is different footwork I can do. I'm about to
Mm.
jump on, and I merged these things together, and this was my style. Like Kai was
Right.
saying, this was my vocabulary and how I spoke. Obviously, the two step and being able to just snap and step from side to side is the foundation to be able to stack all of these things as
Right.
they're being
The connecting
polyrhythms,
piece.
you
Right.
know, and really making sense of it because I'm on beat, like, so yeah, 2004 is when I stumbled upon the tone wop, and after high school, I really jumped into DJing, and I started DJing these school parties on the west
Ooh.
side with my
Yo,
best
how
friend
was
at the
that as
time.
a dancer? Like, ain't it hard to stand behind the decks? Like when you
Bruh,
like
let
you
me
want to get
tell
out
you,
there?
that's what I'm
It's
saying.
hard.
Like it was a partner, me and my partner. So he would spin, and I would have the mic, and I would jump on the dance floor. And this is where I would like implement my emceeing skills as well,
Right,
and also
right. Shout out
dealing
to
with the
MCs in the
crowd.
building.
Feel me? Got to be able to know how to talk on the mic, man, and
Right.
move
Yeah,
the people, move the crowd, because
yeah,
dancing does that. But if you got a voice, people are definitely like they're with you.
right.
Right.
So we would do these school parties on the west side of Harlem at Thurgood Marshall Academy, on 135th Street,
All
and
right. Shout
it's
out.
where I
Shout
Oh
out.
first
goodness.
saw people
Ain't that a song? 130? No, no, I don't know. Okay, continue. I'm gonna
standing
shut
on
up.
25th Street, funky fresh, standing on 25th. Maybe you talking
Right,
about
something
that.
like that.
Yeah.
But this was the first time I saw kids hitting the Let It Rain, Clear It Out, and I'm like, what's that? I'm like, that looks like an old man doing like a jump for joy or like somebody
Yes.
catching the Holy Ghost in church.
It
I'm
was
like,
so
what the heck
awkward,
is
but it was
that?
Let
fun.
me see. Can I get it? What's the? Give me the.
You got the list. Get it. Let's
Yeah,
get
I've
it.
seen
Let's
it. I've
get
seen
it.
it. All right. I used
But it
we
would be like the
because I
arms.
when my first years in LA, I did bar and bat mitzvahs, weddings, corporate parties as a dancer. So a lot of these dances I know, like, and I learned how to do them just so I can show kids at the
Right.
party. So
Now you know it was crazy coming up
Oh,
in New York and going to the club and being in heels
mhm.
and doing it. I remember I got stomped out one time. Somebody chicken noodle soup right onto my toe
Ooh.
with her heel.
Did you give us
I
soda on
was
the side?
bleeding.
I would have
I was
gave us
bleeding.
soda on
I
the
didn't even
side.
get to put the soda on the side. I just took my ass
damn.
on over to the side. It was great.
Uh,
Yeah.
poor
No, I
toes.
think with my lesson with dance is when I came here, like I said, we were kind of freak dancers pretty much. All we did was grind on people. So when I got to LA, I had to learn like how to do choreography, like one and two and what is well, I know how to flow with the music. I know how to groove with the music, but I didn't know how to do like choreography, 8 counts. I didn't know anything about any of that. So I
Right.
had to learn that. And that was so hard for me. It
Right.
was difficult. So
Not
anyway,
easy at all.
yeah,
Yeah.
I
Not.
just
I
show
have a
people
question
moves.
actually. That inspired me a question. How can you explain how does the culture of New York, specifically in Harlem, or just New York in general, how does it add to this evolution? Because I hear you say like, yo, I wanted to get better. I wanted to do this. I wanted
Right.
to do that, you know? I wanted to go to the party. Now I'm DJing at parties. And so how is New York as a breeding ground for dance and culture? How do you feel it inspired you in your evolution as a dancer and
How it inspired me was just like really wanting to rep for home. Like, yeah, when it comes to Harlem, uh, the people who coming out of Harlem, Dipset, Mace. These are quintessential artists that uphold what it means to be from uptown. So
Right.
being someone that wanted to be nice, which is a New York thing, like
It's a New
I've
York
Right.
never
thing.
heard
I'm
anybody on
nice
the
out
West
here.
Coast say
We stole you
nice.
from
Like,
that.
nah, I wanted to be nice. And those people implemented nice. Like, even Kanye, for a very long time, was a huge fan of Mace. And I
Mm.
definitely agree with that. Like, I wanted the waves, never really happened, but I wanted to be fly. And Mace used to emulate Al B in like a very sluggish, lazy way of just playing with the music. And he would even hit
Mm,
the Al B, and Diddy would even hit the shoulders every now and again. And then you see the kids
Yeah.
in the video, so you're like, all right, these are the things that resonate with me and what it means to be a Harlemite, to be from New York. Before I was on my super New York talk, it was like definitely Harlem to the death, but New York in general just upholds a standard of, when we
Right.
do something, we really do it. It becomes a discipline, a lifestyle. And I just wanted to step in those shoes, fill in those footsteps of those before me, and just hold it down for home. Like
Yeah. Do
really
you feel like?
implement.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Nah, just implement and exemplify what it means to be from uptown.
Yeah. Do you feel like is it kind of like the rap game? Do you feel like the dance like culture is still just as competitive, or is it changing, or is it about the same? How do you feel like the dance world is right now as a dancer?
The phone has changed the dance where I predate
Right.
the cell phone. You know what I mean? So
right.
before the
Yeah.
cell phone and social media, going into that, riding the wave with YouTube and being able to
Right.
upload the first dance clips ever. Like my one of my I think my first video on YouTube is on the creator of Light Feed, AG, the voice of Harlem, on his YouTube channel, and I'm
Nice.
dancing to James Brown, and it's not even like anything synonymous with like the Harlem Shake or the Tone Wop particularly, but I'm doing my thing. I'm doing electric boogie. I'm isolating. I'm like hitting the shoulders. I'm waving. But
Right.
AG at the time, was saying like, "Yo, Crybaby's hitting the light feed to James Brown." And he threw it up on YouTube, and I'm like, "This is like a clip that I hold near and dear to me
Yeah.
because somebody was watching me. I don't even know who filmed it, but
Right.
they ended up filming it for AG, and he threw it up on his YouTube channel. So like
Yeah.
that became the spiel. Like we got to upload clips to YouTube, and then
Right.
it became I don't even know what came next after YouTube. Like maybe like Vine or like
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
it was
something
Vine.
like
Yeah.
Vine.
that.
Did you ever feel the feelings of like I don't really want to be a YouTube star? Or did you just go with it when it came up?
I think that we kind of just went with it because we was trying to get our name up. We was trying to level
Yeah.
up, and
Mm,
this was the platform. It's like, all right, we can watch this on TV, but there's also this on YouTube. We trying to make stuff happen here, and YouTube came out. I want to say like 2000, early 2000s, and
Right.
yeah.
the
It feels like it's been
the
here
YouTube,
forever,
It
but that
feel
literally was just like that's a
yo,
new thing. It feels like
yeah,
that's
but it
always
was it wasn't as crazy. I remember even I was in a dance crew back in the early 2000s as
so
well,
funny.
and we
You were in
don't
a
have
dance crew.
we I
so
know I
cute.
was. Shout out to I was in a flexing crew too. Shout out to Two Nice crew
What?
from
Okay.
Canarsie. Yeah, yeah. We was out. I
You
was
throw
all
some,
Wow.
over
come
the
on,
place.
throw some
Boy,
horns
you're
on that. We throw
bullshitting,
some
man.
horns on
Canarsie, my
that.
boys
Instead
Two
of
Nice,
flexing,
flexing
and he got
Brooklyn.
the BK sounds in the back.
Right.
Like, boy, flex.
But
We
actually
official
that
out here. What you
that's
talking
another
about?
question I have. Like, so how do you feel like with with we'll call is it okay if we call it light feet? The origins of
Yes,
light feet, right?
yes.
Okay,
You
if we
can say
calling the
getting
origin
light as well. It just marks a different
getting
time
light,
in
that's
era.
what we
Yeah.
used to say.
And
But
just
the
and just
origins
I'm sorry,
of
go ahead.
that, it being in like the clubs and just like the parties, not even clubs, the parties and very kind of intimate, you know what I mean? It felt feels very pure. And then it coming out and becoming mainstream. And I've seen you on music videos. And so now you're kind of evolving and social media back then being YouTube and what it has evolved to now. How do you feel
Mm.
um that has affected the way the style has progressed?
I feel like when things become popularized and on so many different platforms, that the standard begins to change, and I just say standard as far as like the origin.
Mm,
You said you grew up doing it. It was a thing that we did for fun, and we emulated those that we saw. And I feel like people are still doing that now. But what happens with dancers now? they aspire to learn a new thing to show their audience, and it doesn't
Right.
necessarily mean that they're on the journey uh, in a disciplinary way. It's just like, yo, I'm doing this thing, check it out, y'all,
Right.
and that's
So
Mm.
not
so
bad.
is that like offensive, like as a dancer, like say your style, like light feet, right? If somebody just does that just to kind of get on, but they're not really living the culture, is that a thing? Or is it like
That is a
you
thing.
just dance,
That is a thing.
you live how you
That is
live?
a thing.
Right.
That
Especially
is a
because
thing.
now
There are
the
people.
reach is international now.
Right.
Is
Absolutely.
it?
Because I feel like if I was a dancer, I would just want to know everything. I wouldn't like. Would that be wrong? Would I be shifty or something out
No,
here in the streets? Or-
no, it's not. It's nothing wrong with wanting to, like, equip yourself with the knowledge, but it's not what you do; it's how you do it. And
okay.
Right.
social media is free. It's a free space, so you could never be mad at somebody for sharing what it is that they want to do on their own time. But when you
Right.
start to monetize off of things and not really have a connection to where that movement comes from, then you kind of tread into, like, murky waters, and it's like that's not
Mm,
so clear, and you
right.
don't know much about this, and to teach says that you are well versed,
Right.
and those people are trusting you with whatever it is that you're giving them. And I feel like
Right.
people just want some dance moves, so it's like
Right.
that's
Right.
why they do things the way that they do. I just came here for 5, 6, 7, 8, like it be
Right.
that way sometimes,
So
and that's what's happening.
So now we're getting into teaching, right? So you've had this career as a dancer. You've also battled, which we can get into as well, because
Mhm.
that's a whole nother thing. Battling and also teaching now. So
Mhm.
how is that journey for you? Because I feel like we're about to get into that part of your journey, and
Mhm.
I agree with you in terms of especially coming up in New York as a dancer. Coming up, period, I didn't come up in a dance studio, so I just would look at music videos and emulate whatever they did. I didn't
Right.
know what popping was. I didn't know what whacking was. I didn't know what voguing was necessarily. I just knew
Right.
Yeah.
moves.
Yeah.
And then when I
Mhm.
started like really wanting to do this, I was like, "Yo, let me study." So
Right.
and then I think being from New York, we're taught to go to the root of stuff. So when I wanted to
Mhm.
learn whacking, I went to OGs and whacking. When I wanted to learn more hip hop, I went to like Link. When I wanted to learn more house, I went to Ejo
Mhm.
and Brian Green and
You dropping names out here.
not
Shout
because
out
it's
all
important,
real
Hey,
quick. Shout out
those are the
all of them
ones.
people
because
out
that's
there.
Those are
also
the
your
ones.
lineage.
Right. Yeah.
That's also your lineage. You know what I mean? And even recently, we was on tour last year, and we went to New York for a stop, and I was like, "Yo, we're gonna take Crybaby's class because it's something I want to learn.
Right.
That's always been a thing for me. I want to learn from the originators. It's not something that I grew up doing necessarily. I'm not an originator, so I want to learn from them.
Right.
So yeah, so if getting into your side of things as far as your outlook as being a teacher, and
That
how
that was the
Yeah.
question.
would you recommend like students uh that are international, and even how's that journey for you? How is it teaching in New York versus teaching in a different part of the country or a different part of the world?
Yeah, it's crazy just the way people appreciate dance over these. Not saying that anyone appreciates dance any more than the other, but it's the practitioners. I feel like when it comes to Europe and Asia, there's a lot of practitioners, so they train a lot, and there are just some people in New York that will take class, and
Mm,
they're both admirable, but there are just some that are really looking to exemplify the style that it is that they're learning, so they continue with it, whereas somebody is just kind of fitting it in between their working schedule, or if they have free time. I think it's kind of sort of a luxury in Europe and Asia opposed to New York, like, like to really fit dance into your schedule. Like, if you can fit a dance class into your schedule living in New York with the 9 to 5, like, that's crazy. Like, it's a luxury. Even to
Right.
make dance, a career is definitely a luxury. You would have to really have things wide open in front of you so that you can run on that path. But what
Right.
I say about just teaching and those that want to teach and uh, with a style that they're learning, I think it's important that they know that the people that they're learning from are still evolving with the information that they're sharing. So you might be sharing something that will be outdated in its evolution. Like, you might, not saying outdated like it isn't used anymore, but it might be updated and amplified and made better. you might be teaching what I was teaching in 2009, but those techniques are refined, they're sharpened, they're better, and I wouldn't teach what I was teaching in 2009 because it's been refined and
Right.
packaged in a better way to express and explain and make it so that you can actually learn it and use it, opposed to stumbling on what I was teaching you at an earlier time and you're like, great, got it, bye, pew, out the door.
Right.
And so I would tell people it's important that you know that the origins of what you're learning is still evolving, and to be
Yeah.
careful with what you're teaching because you might get caught up in what something is called now opposed to what it was called then.
And then, I have my dumb non-dancer question. Now, don't get it right. Don't get it wrong though. Like I'm out here in these streets. Like I could serve people if I needed to. I used
Oh
to.
God,
Right?
I'm
yeah,
old.
you
I'm
I've
old
heard
now.
serving,
you
you
getting
serving
crazy
Uh,
at
all
the bar
right.
mitzvahs. You was definitely
uh,
battling at the
Serving
bar
all
but
mitzvah.
right.
but here's the no. You stay out of this. But I had my first question was like, can you maybe describe the difference between the different types of like what light feet from I know Chicago has footwork. I know
Hmm.
there's different types of like footwork dances. Like what specifically makes light feet light feet?
So, the creator of Light Feet, AG the Voice of Harlem, would say that Light Feet isn't one dance. It's actually the energy that you bring when you decide to dance. And uh, what the community, those growing up listening to AG, meaning like listening to him at basketball games, because this is where you would see him at basketball games, at parties. I eventually got to meet him at a basketball tournament called Kingdom, and it's where I got to hear him say, "Get the light feed going, get the light, the light." Now, when he said this to me, 2005, 2006, I did not know what light feed was. I just did the dances that were happening at the time.
Mhm.
And as a, East Harlem street dance connoisseur, preserver, I'm like, I'm just gonna get crazy. And AG saying, "Get the light feed going, get the light, the light." I'm doing electric boogie, I'm isolating, I'm gliding, I'm Harlem shaking, and I'm tone whopping. So the tone wop, I would say, for me, when you hear the word light feet, the tone wop would be the first thing that comes into play when it comes to the footwork of light feet. And then things like the chicken noodle soup, and combining the chicken noodle soup and the tone wop, you wanted to be able to continue on with your freestyle. You didn't want to just keep doing the same dances over and over. So this is where variations come into play
Mhm.
and different ways of approaching the footwork. And that's where the phrase "getting light" became a thing, because it wasn't so much just the tone wop, it was a mixture of a lot of variations that made up the style. And people started doing things like jumping over their leg, making their ankles pop on their tiptoes, or dropping to the ground. Which I didn't really do a lot of that, because you're just not gonna be able to continue to dance if
Right.
breaking your
Yeah.
ankles, falling to the ground. I'm like nearly 300 pounds. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna keep shaking.
Just gonna stick
Hitting
with
Well,
the
the
you
toe
know,
lightness.
walk, the
Wait,
glide,
I have.
all of
I'll
the
Go
say,
ahead.
you know, that's one of the things that I really was impressed by when I first seen Crybaby get down, was because he was a lot heavier set back then.
Yeah.
Which, shout out, we're
Mhm.
gonna get into that in a second, because
For
that's
real,
that's a
for real.
journey, I'm sure.
That
And I'm like, yo, this dude is getting off with no tricks.
Right.
And that, not for nothing, that's a big deal. Like, if you when you, especially on a battle scene or on a freestyle scene, it's like some people, they just know power moves, or they just do
Right.
tricks, and they just got hat tricks. And I know,
Yeah.
coming from a flexing background too, it was like the bone breaking, and that was like a shtick
mm,
almost. But it's like, yo,
mhm.
if you could ride the beat and like just off your musicality and your creativity, that to me and everybody was so much way more impressive than just like, yo, he just hit this trick, but it wasn't even on beat. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that's what I was
Mhm.
impressed
How,
by.
Yeah.
how I feel about
Shout
myself.
out all the big bones who look who light on their feet out there.
I mean,
But even that, so
wasn't many, wasn't
how's
many.
that journey been for you? Like, how was that your weight loss journey, or where are you at with
Yeah.
it?
What are your secrets? Tell us. Tell
Right.
us your secrets.
How you get
Uh,
snatched?
I mean, living in New York City, living in America, man, like food is just terrible. And you
Yes, it is.
try to definitely just do your best. And thankfully, our bodegas, kept us alive, feeding us. You know what I mean? But
Right. Bacon and
like
chopped
growing
cheese.
up, I just say again.
Chopped cheese, bacon, egg, and cheese.
Oh yeah, yo, the chopped cheese was like bacon, egg, and cheese, chopped cheese. Those are like two staples of New York City. It's
Sounds like
just,
a lot of
you know,
cheese.
when
A
they
lot
make
of
it
cheese.
available at such a, you know, low price, you like that. I choose
Yeah,
that.
let me get two of them
Yeah.
That
joints. Let
that
me get two
Right.
of them.
you know, and too many times, you know, will definitely have you in not good spaces. And yeah, like the food that I was choosing to eat at the time just wasn't really conducive for my dancing, but it didn't stop me from eating it or stop me from dancing. It's just that as I got older, I realized that I wanted to be lighter,
Right.
and I had to change my diet. So eating chopped cheeses every day, I'm like, all right, that's got to stop. So once I
Right.
stopped
Right.
eating like, ground beef or just beef, period, began like making me lighter. And
Get
the
light.
dance
Right.
itself,
Oh, he got
once you
light eye.
you feel me? Once you change your diet and you start implementing more, I started teaching more as well. So I started to build a type of resistance and retention for the movement.
Nice.
So sweating and just profusely. But when you're teaching people that don't necessarily have rhythm, you're running drills, that's when it really began to like I started to see the pounds shed. Before I became a
Right.
teacher as well, I was working at UPS, and right as I got my job at EXPG, I was doing both for a little while. So overnight,
Mm.
I'm doing all this heavy lifting,
Hell
all
yeah.
this calisthenics, and then I would get into class and I'm doing a bunch of cardio. So
Mm.
Mm.
my body was like being attacked, and
Right.
that's where the pounds began to really just shed. Once I lost the weight, I could dance longer, I would sweat more, and started to see a huge difference in my movement and just my thought process and how I could move.
Right. That was
So,
my next question is like did it make you a better dancer? I think the obvious answer
oh,
would be yes,
absolutely.
but
Yeah.
did
Is
it
there something in your diet now? Like, do you stay? Are you do you not eat meat? Is there something that you can
No,
like?
I mean, I try not to still like try not to eat any beef. A lot of ground turkey, chicken, fish. Try to stay away from the carbs as much as possible. But you know, it be
You
it
know,
be
it be
sometimes.
hard out
Look,
here.
no
Hey,
judgment, man. Like
No, no
no
judgment
no
judgment
at
at all.
all.
judgment.
But
Like I
what
eat
works for
horrible.
you
I'm just
works for
happy
you.
good.
Right.
Yeah, I'm just happy I'm blessed with a high metabolism because I would probably
Right.
be 8,000 pounds right now.
My
So
homegirl Lynn from New York said, "Damn, I just ate chopped cheese today." I know it's
chopped cheese.
hard. I was
It
there in
be that
July.
way.
Uh,
And it's
Yeah, like
crazy that the chopped cheese has just become a New York staple because the original is from East Harlem. And
right.
that's why I'm
right.
Ex-
like,
Explain to me what a chopped cheese is though. Like
I'm gonna let
so
I need a
Crybaby do
visual.
it.
it's
I need a visual of this
well,
chopped cheese
let me
situation.
put you on. So a chopped cheese is a hamburger chopped, seasoned, and put on a hero
Mm.
cheese. The
Mm.
same way a hamburger is made, but it's just you can maybe get like a half a
Is that
patty
is that
more
hero?
to
Is
fit
that
the hero.
gyro?
No, it's a hero bread,
That's what I'm saying.
bread.
Okay, because you know how some people
So a
say gyro
gyro,
different than
gyro, G
gyro.
No,
Y,
nah,
but
nah. It's
no,
a
an
hero.
actual
H.
baguette. You're a
Right.
Right.
baguette.
Okay.
But
School me on
this
this New York
hero,
stuff.
they would fit a little bit more on the sandwich, and it just slaps. You know, the bacon,
Right.
egg, and cheese is something that you would either get on a roll or a
Yep.
hero, but the chopped cheese
The ketchup
originated
on
at
it.
on
Look,
110th
look,
Hot
Street
look,
First Avenue.
Kai about to skip her workout class after this. She about to
Nah,
go home and get
actually,
a
yeah,
chopped cheese.
I had a bunch of ham egg. I used to get ham egg and cheese on a croissant.
Right.
That was my joint.
Um,
Back in the day. So I had some when I was in New York, and I gained weight. But you know what I realized though, difference between New York and LA is that the lifestyle. Like I said, I was there. I was back there in July, and you know, in LA, I've been out here for 8 years. So I have my car. I have my slides in the car. I got my stuff. I don't
comfortable.
super comfortable, convenient.
Right.
In New York, I flew in with my luggage and I had to go straight to rehearsal. I was on that train with this luggage, yo,
Right.
going up and down these stairs. I was like, yo, this ain't
This
it.
ain't it. Like I'm bougie
This ain't
now.
it. And
I want my
even
Uber to
even
drop me off right in front of the
right. And
class.
even I would go to like rehearsal. I was staying in East Flatbush. So
Flatbush.
I would walk to the train like 10 minutes, get on the train, get to rehearsal in the midtown, sweat. After rehearsal, there's
Oh
no
yeah.
place for you to change.
Right.
You ain't got no showers. Now I'm gonna have to baby wipe, change. Now I have a bag full of wet clothes that I have to take the train and go back to like it was a
All
lot.
right.
So
So we're gonna pull this wambulance off somewhere else.
it
A
was
You
just a
lot.
better do what you
lot.
gotta do out there.
It's a lot. Well, I have another
For
question.
real though.
Okay.
I'm full of questions
I
today.
want to get some visuals. Can I play a little bit of this clip from the class? What do you
Okay,
think?
fine.
So
Well,
I'm gonna play a little bit from this class you did when you were in LA. And
I
just
want to
for
talk about
just
that.
for
I don't know what that's
visuals,
about.
like maybe walk us through some of these moves that we're doing or that we're seeing on here.
Okay.
I hope you can see it on your screen.
No,
But
no.
yeah, I want to see some visuals. I want people to see how this looks in real life. That's
Uh,
obviously the Harlem Shake. Oh, what did you just click? Oh, it's a commercial.
Oh,
Sorry.
commercial came through.
Shout out to the ads.
I'm on YouTube. I'm on YouTube. My bad.
Big up
All right.
YouTube. So yeah, this is the Harlem Shake.
Yeah, Harlem Shake.
Go Crazy Boy style. Shout out to the Go Crazy Boys original Harlem Shakers. That's what you see me using right now. And this is pretty much like cozy style. I'm using something called the Rev Up. These are like
Right.
sort of like the antics that I would use. This is Rob Wilson. If you're out
Rob,
in LA,
short
you definitely know
circuit.
the bro Rob. BC baby, everybody eats. He's using the Harlem Shake right now. And you know Rob's short circuit style. He went into
Mm-hmm.
some tic
Mhm.
tac toes. He's doing like tone wop arms now. This is more like a tone wop energy. And yeah, he's doing the tone wop now.
Yeah, low
Into
key
the
on,
tic
on
tac
some
toe,
on
into
some real
our
no.
beloved lock. Yeah,
Yeah, sorry to
Rob is
interrupt you.
nah, it's all good. Rob is a beast though. And so he's using elements of getting light and light feet. So why I say they're two different things is because right now I'm doing light feet. Now I'm getting light. So there are two different ways to approach the style. And it's just the energy, and that's our lock in. The lock in is how we separate our statements. And now I'm
Period.
going into some more light feet into our lock in. So the way I express light feet, this is Kai. You already know if you out in
Kai.
LA, you know Kai Dragon,
Kai
uh,
Lynn. Kai
student of
Dragon.
Mr. YouTube, and he's using the Rev Up right now. The Rev Up is like how B boys would use the top rock. This is how we would speak with light feet into boom, do boom, right into a lock in. So the lock in is how we separate our statements. And I believe he's about to go into the bad one now, which is
Bad
a
one.
social dance that belongs to getting light. I would say that's original light feet into a lock in. Oh, fake out, wop, stupid with the fake out, boom. So
Nah, but I'm saying low
this is
key,
this
I
is
like
how we
this
sound.
flavor. He was one of my favorites.
Yeah, Kai is nasty.
But
Kai is
yeah, all
definitely
right. So
dope.
we're gonna come back. We're gonna come back to you. But yeah, I'd like because for me, I like to see the visuals of the dances and just kind of see what they
That's
look like.
dope. I really like that we
Mhm.
did that. Go ahead.
Yeah,
Shout out to you, G.
I know. All right, go ahead. Go ahead. Ask your question.
Well, no, I mean, I again, I like that because again, we get to for anyone watching this at home, you guys are getting to see it broken down, especially the non-dancer community, or if you're not familiar with this style, you're hearing it from a pioneer. You're hearing it broken down to your dance style and what they're doing. Because a lot of times we ingest or digest
Right.
dance, and we don't know what's going on. We just know
Right.
it was dope.
Yeah. Like
So to
that
know
was
that
sexy. That
there's
was
something
sexy.
called a
What is that?
lock in, and it's like, oh, this is a punctuation. He's
Right.
making a statement. It has to be on beat. You
Yeah.
know, it's like a dip in Vogue.
Right.
A dip in Vogue is your
Yes.
punctuation.
Yeah.
Now what's crazy too is that I don't know if like I feel like when it comes to street styles that those kinds of punctuations exist, and I feel like Crump has some like that as well.
Yeah.
Definitely voguing, light feet. I know breaking has some as well, but light feet particularly is on a timing, like and the dip is on a specific timing. Kill offs
Yeah.
and Crump, they're all based on the rhythm, like and where you
Right.
are in a time.
So yeah, kill offs. That would be basically like an exclamation point in light feet, right?
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes,
Okay. Yeah.
yes,
Yes.
and the lock in can be an exclamation mark, question mark, or simply a period to the ending of a sentence.
So I have a question.
Oh, you're getting that face.
Yeah, because you know we
It's
if
coming.
you know we like to talk about everything.
All right, let me get my other buzzer ready. All right, we
Oh
ready.
my
We
God.
ready. We ready. Let's go.
He always buzzes me, yo. Yo, chill, yo. Not even finna come for the
All right, I
game.
won't. You're right. Just go ahead and go.
All
I'll
right.
buzz you.
What is it like dating? What is dating like for an adult dancer from Harlem, light feet dancer from Harlem? What is your dating life like, sir?
Shout
He's
out to the
blushing.
sound effects.
He's
Yeah,
blushing. Get me off
Sound
the screen. Get me off the
effects.
screen so we can get him on.
Dating for me, it's a very like not a super private life, but I do have a girlfriend. Shout out to her. I'm not gonna just
Shout out
throw
to
her
the
name out
girl.
I
there,
know,
First of
right?
all, I
and
would
y'all
have
be
Shout out
like,
to
even
the
"Who
girl,
is
expected
she?
that.
Where is she?"
right?
You know,
Can we
but
get first
I have
name,
a
first
girlfriend.
Nah,
initial or
nah,
something? No,
chill.
first
He's
initial.
he's hiding
You
the world
know,
from
like
her.
I don't
He's
know who
not hiding
watching. I
her
don't know
from the
who
world.
watching, and I don't want them trying
Right.
to find my baby. You know what I'm
Hit
saying?
him.
There
Hit
are
him with the
people out
Drake.
there.
Hit him with the
You
Drake.
feel
I'm
me?
not hiding you from the world. I'm hiding the
The
world
world
from
from you.
you.
Yeah.
Ooh, yo, Drake is shout out to October's very own man. Like much
Listen. I
love
don't
to
know.
Drake,
Like,
but
first of all, Drake said some light skinned stuff, so I don't want to get into some of the
hey, man,
things.
I ain't
But I
light
do
skinned.
like
You
Drake. I
said it,
do
All
like
man.
right, all
I
Drake.
right,
ain't
all
saying
right.
you said it.
Right.
Okay.
But yeah,
So
I'm
dating.
not
So you got a
hiding
girl.
her. I'm just very private about
Private.
what it is that I
Private.
do. But
Please.
I've been dating for 4 years.
Oh,
Very much
nice.
in love, and yeah, I just I don't mix the worlds because there are some there's a lot of funny energy out here, and when you're meeting
Right.
people just kind of want to get close to you, and that's a strange
Right.
space, a very strange space. You want to meet genuine people, the genuine exchange, and there isn't always a genuine connection when you're meeting people. It's always something to come out of it on the opposite end. And for
Mm.
me, I like my peace. I like to be able to build. I love being nurtured, and I love nurturing. So that's what I'm doing in my
What sign are
relationship.
you?
I am a
Oh, you're a
Scorpio.
Scorpio. Oh, he a water
Yeah.
sign.
Is that
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
thought that was a fire sign,
No,
Scorpio.
Scorpios are
Oh, look,
Don't
I
be
don't
water.
that
know.
way,
I'm
man.
not good with none of that. I just
That's why I'm like, he a
I,
little emotional.
I follow a few of the rules, but I don't live by it. But I do have a quick question before Kai takes over
Mhm.
again because we're actually running out of time. And
Oh
just
wow.
talking about like how you sustain as a dancer. Like, I mean, there's obviously other dancers out there. You know, you're always kind of going job to job, but how do you sustain as a dancer and even just stay relevant as a dancer?
Mm.
Even like to get to where you are now, starting out as just hungry and to get to where you are now. How do you sustain that?
I think that like, it's just more than just saying being consistent. But I think that when you share a genuine love for something, you
Mm.
never let go of it, and you are a certain type of consistent with it. And when you add that with specific locations where people are, and you do that a lot, especially in New York City, it begins to like weigh in a different way where it's like, all right, this person is known for being at these places at this time at the heightened energy, and you become synonymous with that. So
Right.
um, if you love it, you'll definitely be consistent with it, and you won't let go of it, and then you'll become someone who is synonymous with the things that you do, and
Yeah.
if
And
you
you know, just to
remain
add,
relevant.
go ahead.
uh,
Sorry. No, go ahead. I'm sorry. I thought you were done.
no, I'm just saying,
You're
like,
giving me dirty
there's
looks
a little
right
bit
now.
of a
My bad.
lag. That's why.
Yeah.
Nah, it's so good.
But
There's a lag on my side.
on top of that, when we're speaking, I know it's maybe a little private, but even financially, like, do you like, were you able to find jobs that were paying, or did a lot of like dancing for free just to kind of get to the levels that you are? Or
Oh
did
my.
you find that hard to find
The
work as a
hustle game
dancer?
is real.
Right.
The hustle game
Absolutely,
is
most
real.
certainly. In New York, you gotta do a lot for free before you
Yeah.
even begin to
Yeah.
level up, and somebody even offers you a coin, or even you as a
Right.
dancer, you realize like, hey, I should get paid from this, or even
Right.
Right.
implementing the language. It's a lot of trial and error. So
Yeah. We was hitting
I'm
on the
not even gonna
train.
fake the funk.
Right. So
We was hitting on the
Definitely hit on
train.
the train.
so both of y'all,
Definitely hit on the train. It
what
was
would you
brief.
say?
It was definitely brief, but
Right.
I hit on the
Yeah.
train
Yeah.
definitely.
So from both of y'all, what would y'all say to upcoming dancers that are out there just starting out and about to take this journey? Like, what would you guys say to them? Let me go to
I
that
It's
mean,
smile.
not for
I
the
guess.
weak.
Yeah.
It's
Say
not for
that
the
one more
weak.
time, friend.
It's not for the weak.
It is not for the weak. It's
It
not for the
sure
weak.
ain't.
And
It sure ain't. You gotta love this joint. You gotta, like I said, and I say this with the most humility. I have a college degree, right? I have a college degree, but I love this dance thing so much, and I wanted. It was so much. My degree is not in dance,
Right.
but when I
mhm.
chose to be a dancer, I went full the f out, and I was dancing on the train.
Right.
Because it made
Hey,
sense
Sorry.
for
Shout
me
that
to
out.
be able to take class and me to be able to train. Shout out to the people I used to hit on the train with: Superman, Martina, Luce, all these has Cookie from back in the day, Allen Hurricane. We all used to hit on the train, and all these people that I just mentioned are now on tour and internationally well
Right.
known dancers. But we all loved it, and even moving to LA, I worked at Target overnight in order for
mhm.
me to take class and for minimum wage. worked at Target so that I could take class and train and all this shit. So
Mhm.
yeah, that was my little journey, and I did it because I loved it. And now 13 years in the game later, I'm starting to see the fruits of my labor,
Right.
and I've seen
Yes.
it, and it's so rewarding. And so it's so worth it. If you love it, stick to it.
Yes.
It'll make it happen.
All
You know
right,
what I
and
mean?
we're kind of
I
running out
feel
of
the
time,
same.
Right.
Cozy. So go ahead and answer
But
that question,
and I got something else to say.
and then and yeah, go ahead. She got more to say.
Well,
So
I,
yeah,
But
what's
no,
I
your
go
answer,
ahead.
Cozy? Go ahead.
just piggybacking off of what Kai said, if you love it, you'll stick with it, and you're gonna find a way to put yourself in those spaces. Like
Right.
me working at overnight at UPS, working at Dollar Tree,
But you
working
really
as a
work for you.
messenger. Like you do what you got to do in order to level up, maintain, and sustain. And dance is still an escape. Whether if I don't get paid from it ever again, my thing is like dance is still my discipline. Is still I'm very
Right.
samurai with this thing.
Right.
Love it, and it'll always be in my heart in that way.
Now
All
I have another question before we
get
end
up
off
out of here.
today.
Yeah.
What do you have going on in the community? What I know you have a lot of things. You're always teaching and you always got stuff going on. But what are you currently working on, or how can people get to you? How can people train with you? Is it virtual? What's up? What's going on in Crybaby
Yes.
Cozie?
Throughout the summer, I was having sessions, and as the season is changing, sessions are still going on. Every Saturday, my bro Keenan, a light feet practitioner. Sorry about the dirt bikes in the background. Very New York. Um,
Very.
very New York. Keenan, who's another practitioner and enthusiast of light feet,
Yes.
representing Brooklyn, has sessions out on Delancey Street every Saturday, and I'll be collaborating with him and going to those. I do hold classes virtually on Zoom. I'm doing a class October 27th, the day before my birthday, next week, Wednesday. I'll be also hosting Thursday classes on Zoom virtually. Tonality is my footwork system and how I express the basically encompass light feet in its totality, and so that's basically my piece of work that I'm constantly building with right now. Sort of like how you would find an approach in ballet, this would be the Crybaby approach to light feet using tonality. So join the Light Feet Dojo at Light Feet Dojo if you want more information. That is where I have tutorials, my own little club and community where I build with them and I share the information, and I also guide them with the information that I'm sharing with them. No longer teaching a class and just saying bye. I teach you. Now I would like for you to join the dojo so that I can guide you with the information.
Come on,
Got
sensei.
it. I know. All right, Sensei. I hear
Come
you
on,
with the
sensei.
samurais
Yeah,
in
and
there.
honestly, and I've taken Crybaby's class. I think it's an amazing class. I think,
Thank you, God.
I would say again, your approach to musicality. I'm such a big buff on musicality and groove and style.
Yeah.
And your approach, it like was like poof, light bulbs, and not everyone could teach. Not every amazing dancer could teach, unfortunately, and not every teacher is amazing. But in Crybaby we see both. I
Both.
honestly see it, and
Shout
you
out
could tell
Crybaby.
you've
Tebow,
taken
my
the
man. Shout out
time.
to Tebow.
You could take out we could tell that you've taken your time to like to understand and dissect and be able to
and
teach
and live it. You live in it. I
and
can
live
get
it.
guru status. With the samurais and everything, with the
Yeah.
dojo. Sifu, Sifu.
Yo, very
Like,
much Last Dragon. Very
right,
much.
right. So, but thank you for coming on, man. I appreciate it. Definitely,
Did
I
you learn
enjoy
something
your
today,
story. I
JB?
learned it. I hope I'm gonna retain it. But but I learned a lot.
Pull
Like,
up
but
to
I'm one of those
class,
people.
man. I
I need
got
you to
you.
break it down.
Pull up to class. Yes, and you have people that are not necessarily professional dancers
Right.
coming through to your class,
Oh,
right?
and hey, did you see
Absolutely.
my? I don't know if you saw our post, but my son, like when I was making the video, and he saw you guys dancing, and he started doing his feet. So I posted a video of him like getting
Yo,
crazy, like getting
You
light,
have
I
to
should say.
tag Crybaby in that.
So I'll
hey,
tag you in it. But like he saw it,
please
and like
tag
I
me in
was
that, man.
right, and I was motivated to put him in a class because as soon as I feel like he's old enough to understand, I want to put him in a class because he literally saw the video and just got hyped. Like it was
Right.
crazy. So I appreciate that. You motivated my son too.
Shout out to
So
Yo,
you, Dad. Shout out to you,
yeah.
Dad. For
yo,
real.
Crybaby, it has been an absolute pleasure. We talked about getting you on the show a while back, and I'm just so
Word.
grateful that you were able to have the time and everything was able to work out. Like I said, for everybody that's just watching, this is our third season. We're in a new space. We've been having,
Level up.
technical
No,
difficulties,
we
all
don't.
that.
That didn't happen. That
That
We
never,
have.
happened.
never happened.
We gonna keep it
Never
real.
happened. Yeah.
Okay. We have. And honestly, I'm so grateful that you were our first virtual guest
Yeah.
on our new space. Thank you so much for being a part of the show, and just sharing your story with us and being transparent and vulnerable. All the things.
Right. All the things. Another quick small
Thank you.
question before we go. How's the COVID life out there in New York? Are you guys anything to report out there? Are they giving you guys mandates as well?
Man, listen, that's a that's a whole that's a whole
It's a whole
other
nother
apple to
show.
bite
It's a
off.
whole nother show.
Right.
Yeah, bro. It's just when it comes to mandates and the vax, it's a scary world out here,
Yeah.
man. I just tell people to just continue to put the things that's necessary in your body, so that
Right.
you can continue going on. And don't get too crazy with the news. Don't
Right.
listen to everything you hear. Make sure you
Yeah.
pick up a book or find
Yeah.
a community of people that's trying to keep themselves healthy.
Right.
For a
Educate
fact.
yourself.
Right.
All right. Well,
Facts.
thank you for coming on, man. We appreciate it. And yeah, I'm
We gotta
I'm actually
pew-pew-pew.
may take a class. Don't I prepare when I'm ready.
I
You'll
wanna
tell me when to
pew-pew-pew right
prepare.
now.
Okay, I'm gonna just cause.
Thank you. I needed that.
Bless y'all. Thank you so
All right.
much.
All right, man. We'll see you
Yo.
around. I may take a class, and that's real shit. I really may. So we'll see
Might
you
pull
later,
up to
man.
LA soon. Never know. Catch
Okay,
y'all.
yeah,
Love
yeah.
Please,
you.
you already know. I mean, he knows a lot of people here in LA, but you already know. Keep us in mind. Let us know when you're out here so we can
Right.
let the people know too.
Right.
Most
All right,
certainly
man.
will.
See you
Thank you
next
again for
time.
having me.
Everybody,
safe.
put the pews in the comment section. Put them in the comment section for Mr. Cozie. Mr. Cozie,
Yeah.
the cry guy. That guy.
No, Chrybaby Cozie. Chrybaby Cozie.
Yeah.
Oh, that was so dope. Yo.
Yeah, it was. I
So
appreciated
dope,
that.
man.
Like, but I just like knowing where things come from, right? Like, sometimes I think some people, I ain't gonna say some people, but there are times when the world just does what works or what's happening. I like to know where it comes from or where it came
Right.
from. So I loved hearing the story and understanding how it came from and hearing about it in Harlem and on the streets. Like,
Right.
I love that.
Headphones back on.
I
Yes,
love that.
I agree, and I think that I was just having this conversation earlier with like the media and with so many things, you get mixed up. You get like the
Right.
roots of things mixed up. So I guess I'm a purist in that sense, where I like to get to the bottom of things and like go to the sources. And in a lot of these styles, we have the sources are right. Our neighbors, you know
Right.
what I mean? So again, shout out to Chrybaby Cozie, one of the pioneers of Light Feet. And if you guys want more information about what Light Feet is, the dance style, who Chrybaby is, check out. You can go on our Instagram. We have him posted. His Instagram. Let me make sure. What's his Instagram? I think it's at Chrybaby Cozie.
Yeah,
I
I
want to
think
say
that's all
that.
it is. Yeah.
But
And it's on our page, like where
it's on
we
our
post
page.
that you should be following anyway.
That's the point again why we do this show. We want to be a bridge to, that's why it's called If You Know You Know, because we want to be a bridge to information, to different cultural elements, whether it's dance, music, technology, social issues, health issues. We want to be that bridge, and that's what we pride ourselves on. So we want to build a community of people that just know stuff and just like know each other.
Know some stuff.
If
So if
y'all
you know
meet,
some stuff,
if
hit
you
us
know
up.
some stuff,
No.
hate us, because there's a lot of people out here acting like they know stuff
Right.
and they don't know nothing.
Yeah, and but on that fact, we do want to hear from you guys. So make sure to reach out to us if you have stories that you want to talk about. You want to share videos, anything. Hit us up. Our email is if you know IYKYK
The show
@gmail.com. And
Yes.
anything you want us to talk about, any political views, anything you want us to touch on, or just a story that you want us to share. Let us know. Hit us up.
Yes, that too. And also, if you guys are a Black owned, woman owned, Latin owned, Asian owned, LGBTQ owned small business starting out, hit us up. We like to also be able to promote and share and work with you guys. So
Yeah.
again, we are a bridge. We are a bridge. And if you also, last thing I'll say before we go, if you also find it in your heart to help donate to our cause, our Venmo is up.
Right.
Yes, we have our Venmo. It is IYKYK _. I'm looking at him.
Yeah, right. I'm trying not to look at him. Like,
IYKYK _ the show on Venmo.
Right.
Again, it's there. Please feel free to donate if you feel like it. We do this off the strength of love. It's really fulfilling to be able to share this with you guys, and I'm inspired to continue doing it.
Yeah. All right. So thank you guys for joining. I'm gonna take us out. This is my new joint right now, right? And it's this old white man. I wish I actually could pull up the video, but this is what I've been jamming for quite some time. But we're gonna see y'all next week on the next show. Let's jam out to this.
Grandpa rapping on bookface trapping. Disrespect Homer, I'ma come through clapping.
Hey.
My back being hurting and my knees keep cracking. But don't get it confused, boy, I ain't never lacking. I'm a triple OG from Turk.
Okay.
I got 2 good hands and they work.
All right.
If I can't whoop you, I just might cut you.
Oh.
I'm sick and tired of all you sapsucker motherfuckers.
Hey.
I'm a savage. I got Pearl May cooking up the cabbage. She make an oxtail stew, I got the habit.
Oxtail, he
I'm
Jamaican?
an old school player. I ain't average. Shit, I ain't average.
No, listen, I'm gonna post this on our page, but like
Oh,
this is
Lord.
literally an old white man, like
Yeah.
an old white
Yeah.
guy. So anyway, thank you guys for joining. We'll see you guys next week.
Peace.
And
If you
we
know,
about
you
this
know
thing.
The show. Peace, yeah.
Hey, I can never find this thing.
You can never find a thing. You can never find a
Don't
thing.
say that.
You can never